I mean, you can serve 500 people a day in one store, but it takes is that you serve one guy one bad piece of chicken, and it will ruin your day. Because employees have different expectation, customers have different expectations, so you have to learn what's required in that market. About 8 of the stores shut down, and an opportunity came up that I could get 5 stores at the same time. When I started, I knew I'm going to make it big. I didn't expect it that it would be this big. We don't know these two guys, they don't even live in the city. Why are we going to give them real estate? After a few years, the table have turned. Before, we were running after them, and every time they're opening a new project or constructing a new project, they come to us. Before, like 5 years ago, it would be they would want to go to a bank first. They would want to go to, let's say, a McDonald's or like other bigger brands, and give them preference, and the leftover was for us. But now, we are approached like, what do you want from this?
Welcome to this special edition of our Franchisee Wisdom podcast. Today, we have a treat for you. We have an amazing franchisee with almost 80 units across Canada. Yes, our neighbor to the north. So I would like to have our guest introduce himself and tell you all about his journey and all the bits of wisdom that he has to share with you in his journey as a multi-unit franchisee. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi, Farhan. So glad to have you in the podcast today. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience? Give us your name. Where are you? What country or where in the world you are? And what brand do you represent?
Hi, thank you very much for having me here. My name is Farhan Abbas. I am in Toronto, Canada, and I'm a Popeyes franchisee. I have been with the brand for about 11, 12 years now. And we are in 3 different provinces, being the largest franchisee of Popeyes in Canada.
Wow, that's amazing to me. How much have you been able to grow and develop in such a short amount of time? I didn't realize it was only 11 years. That is really amazing what you have done. That's fantastic. So, but before we get into the Popeyes and your current journey, tell us a little bit about your background. Who is Farhan? Where were you before franchising? And what got you into franchising in the first place? I love to be able to know that, and I'm sure audience will know to know that too. So go ahead.
Well, I graduated with the undergrad degree in accounting and finance from McGill University in Montreal, and then I pursued my career into accounting. I did my CPA, and after doing my CPA, I did my CFA, which is the Chartered Financial Analyst, and I worked for different banks, like one of them being State Street, an American bank. Then I worked with Manulife, and then RBC for about 5, 6 years. Then just one day, I'd been thinking that I should do something on my own, and franchising was kind of, something that interested me. That because you do get a lot of support. Like if you want to start something in retail on your own, you don't have that marketing dollars or brand name behind you. So yes, like you can argue there's pros and cons of being totally independent or with being a brand. I feel there's a you can piggyback on a lot of knowledge from a lot of smart people who have experience in doing this. And if I started my own thing, I would never have the marketing dollars, the reach Popeyes has.
Mm. So I guess even though you were going to school and you were working in accounting and finance, you always had that entrepreneurial bug, or that's something
Yes.
that it came out later.
No, I actually, before starting my job, right after university, I started different businesses. I worked for, I'd say 4 or 5 years into, retail businesses, and bed and breakfast and all that stuff. And then because I was studying to be a CPA, there's a requirement that I had to work for a couple of years to get my designation. And then with the CFA as well, I mean, you can pass all the exams, but to get your designation, you do have to work. So I went back and I worked for 5, 6 years, but I always knew that at some point I'm gonna go and return and do something. And there were many things that I was looking at, and you'll be surprised from a wide range. Um, Few being like a hotel, bed and breakfast business, a manufacturing business, and then the retail food business. And then, I kind of opportunity came up in Mississauga where at that time, I think this is back in 2013, about 8 of the stores shut down, and an opportunity came up that I could get 5 stores at the same time. So that what attracted me because I didn't want to be like a one store show person. So I said, okay, this is the right opportunity. I can learn from this brand and grow with this brand. And one, like I also dabble with other brands that that I could be with, but the reason this attracted me was it was giving me the growth factor that okay, I could move to very quickly to 5 stores. And also I realized that at that time, I think Popeyes had been in Canada for about 30 plus years or 40 years, but they were only concentrated in the GTA, like Greater Toronto area. So I said, well, if I have to expand, the whole Canada is open. I could go to Alberta, I could go to BC, I could go to any other province. So there's a lot of opportunity there.
Oh, that's great. So that's why you ended up with Popeye. Because I was going to ask you, how did you decided, first of all, food service? Did you know you wanted to go food service and then this opportunity presented itself and you took it? Or it was purely the opportunity to go immediately multi-unit that actually had you start
It's
with
yeah. So
Popeyes?
as I said, I was looking into the retail food business. I was funny enough, I was looking at manufacturing, like Doritos and chips. I was looking at those. I was looking at manufacturing of like juice boxes. I was bed and breakfast, like various businesses that I was looking at. Even I was also dabbling that maybe I should open up my own accounting practice. So like I didn't have a closed mind. It's just that one of the right opportunity had to come.
Well, interesting. So you just had an entrepreneurial spirit. You knew that you wanted to be a business owner. You knew that you wanted to have a large business. You knew that you didn't want to have a job. You basically wanted to have an
Yeah.
enterprise right away, and then this opportunity presented itself, and you jumped at it, regardless, not even considering or realizing that it was food service. So interesting. So now that you got into I want you to go back to the very early days and tell me what was maybe the biggest surprises that you had when you first got into it. Because, when you start, you had a perspective of what you think is going to be like. And
Yeah.
sometimes it matches and sometimes it doesn't, right? So, how much of it matched what you expected and how much did it not? And can you share a couple of surprises that you may have had, good or bad?
Well, it is a lot more work than people may think. Let's say you have 70 items on your menu, so a lot of food inventory coming in, and then the cooking part. You have to know, like, if you have to teach your cooks and employees, you have to know everything yourself. So it's not easy. Like, people see, oh, there's a two-piece of chicken and fries. It's not like, the amount of work that goes behind those 2 pieces of chicken or a chicken sandwich or fries. It's incredible. And I mean, you can serve 500 people a day in one store, but it takes is that you serve one guy one bad piece of chicken, and it will ruin your day because you're going to have an upset customer, or as we call it, a guest.
Mhm.
So it is a tough job that way because it's not, you always have to give your 100%. Like, it's you can't have 499 happy customers and one unhappy customers because it's that one person that is going to count.
Yeah. And now that you are in food service, right? And if, obviously you were looking at all kinds of things from your own accounting firm to manufacturing, so you were, like I said, open to any type of business, but then you end up in food service, and food service has its peculiarities. not only are you serving a lot of customers, but when it comes to food, you have a lot of employees, and you had to the added complexity of the product potentially expiring, right? So, what are the things that you have learned in this initial at the beginning of this initial process, or what makes a Popeyes franchise successful? Because clearly you had to figure it out. And how long did it take you to figure that out?
I wouldn't say that I have, I think it's a ongoing journey. I'm still every day I'm learning new things. Like, like, yes, initially when you get trained, you open up a new store, you learn about the product, but as you grow, you learn about efficiency, and it's different. Like running one store or two stores, when you get to five or six, you can't do it yourself. Then you need an area manager because you cannot be at five places at the same time. So one or two store management, from simple things like bank deposits or whatever, or making payroll and stuff, you could do it yourself. Once you pass five, you need extra help. But then when you pass 10 and then 20 and then 40, and then I started, Googling stuff on how larger franchisees in the US are doing. And I think one of those things is that's where I found you as well. And, to be honest, it's been a great help. All my district managers are trained by you, and Popeye's team have come to me and asked how do I, because since I've been in the business, Popeyes have a rating, and we've always been an A-rated franchisee across the board. And they asked me, how do you do it? And that's when I referred them to you, that all my district managers are being trained by Aisha. So yeah, so going from one province to another, because it is a difference in culture as well. So how you are going to market over there, the employee culture is different from Ontario to Alberta. And then when we went to BC, it's a totally different culture. It's the same country, but people have different lifestyles. Employees have different expectation. Customers have different expectations. So you have to learn what's required in that market. So you always have to keep up.
Yeah, you are so right. I mean, being a franchisee, while you could, with time and experience and learning, you can continue to get better and master being a franchisee, right? Multi-unit franchisee, but it's always a learning journey, because economic situation changes,
Yeah.
people change, right? The generations change, the
Yeah.
unit economics of the business change. So you had to continually be adapting and learning and ongoing. And thank you for mentioning about the training of your district managers. It's been an honor for us that you have trusted us in that journey, and we're so happy that it's made a difference in your organization for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so tell me, one of the things that, as you're going through this journey, what has been the most difficult part? What's been the thing that is been the most challenge, and that hopefully have overcome, but that it was basically maybe the most difficult part? Was it maybe development? Is it people? Is it sales? Is
I
it cost
think, like,
control? Mhm.
everybody's obviously, which is true that in our business, customer is always right, and customer is should be, or guest should be your main focus. But I think in parallel is your employees, your team. Um, if your employee is not 100% happy with you or your business, they're the ones, like, on the ground serving your guests, like from the cashiers to the managers. And if he's having a bad day, it's going to reflect on his service, and the customer and the guest is going to notice that. So, and especially during COVID, we had a tough time hiring and retaining people, getting them to work. And, there was a shortage of labor at that time. So I think, like, I mean, there's a lot of challenges in every business. Sometimes it's the food inventory or food costs because of the high inflation during COVID. We had issues with the food costs. With the tariffs now, we have issues with getting equipment from the US. So I think it's never going to settle. Every year or every few years, there's going to be a new thing. But I think the ongoing challenge is your HR, especially now that we have 75 plus stores, 1,200 employees. So it's a big part of our business. And
Yeah, you know what? I would
yeah,
say you have a great team. I met many of them, and
yeah,
they're super committed to your organization. They clearly has a great culture. The fact that you're willing and wanting to invest in their future and their knowledge, I
yeah.
think that's isn't it, you think that that would be part of why you have had the success that you had, the fact that
Yes,
of
of
your
course.
focus.
So I give credit to my partner and his son who works with me day and night, and also the directors that I have. They're very committed to the work, and we are like a family. We always, every year we go to the convention together. We take there's always about 10 of us. So whoever has done the best in that year, we give them a free vacation and they join us to the convention. And it's for them, it's also, I feel every time we take three, four new people, they come back and for the next 2 months, all they do is talk about their experience because they meet all the vendors, they meet the Popeyes team, they do product testing, and they listen to the future of Popeyes from the brand's name, CEOs and directors, so they get excited and they come back and they tell their experience and stories to the rest of the team and how much fun did they have. And we all, we plan activities with them. Like, like last when we were in Phoenix, we took like the hot balloon ride. Or, when we went to Miami, we went to the beaches and, like lots of fun stuff
Oh,
that
that's
we do with the
fantastic.
team.
I love that. And then it has them see that they're part of a big company. It's not, I mean,
Yeah.
you're already a big company, but they realize that it's a global company with
Yes.
lots and lots of people,
Yes.
different countries, different places. And so they become part of a very
Yeah.
big organization and
And
team. And I
because
think it
they
gives them pride.
they
Mhm.
they hear it themselves from them, so and then they become brand ambassadors and they come back and they tell the rest of the team, and the team is competitive that way because everybody wants to go to that trip. So everybody tries to do better and better at their job, so they get picked up for the next year.
Oh, I love that idea. You're right. You're right. That's amazing. I always, love, brand conferences and seeing all the franchisees with their teams and the spirit that they bring, the culture that you could see is in the organization makes a huge difference for sure. So in your journey, Farhan, what has been the most positive surprise? What are the things that, that as you've gone through it, something that has happened that you maybe did not expect and has been a really great positive outcome of you becoming a multi-unit franchisee?
I think it's the growth that I've had. When I started, I knew I'm going to make it big. I didn't expect it that it would be this big. So when we started, we were in Ontario. Then just 2 years after I started, or maybe the third year, we started. We signed the first store outside Ontario. So it was in Alberta, and then after working in Alberta for 3, 4 years, we signed another province in British Columbia. And now I think at the end of this year in British Columbia alone, we're going to have 51 stores.
Wow, that's
So,
amazing. Yeah. So that
so
my husband is from British Columbia,
oh,
Columbia.
nice.
He is from Vancouver.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
there every 2, 3 months. It's a great city.
Beautiful city.
Uh,
You're right.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So,
So,
mhm.
So the recognition, that I'm getting now, not just from the brand, but a lot of people now know me because of the Popeyes, the banks and the vendors, or like people in the circle. I'm referred to as a Popeyes franchisee. I'm called on different business conferences and business awards. So it's for me, the reward obviously is it's the business success, but it's the personal recognition that I get because of this business.
Yeah. So, what kind of awards? I know that not too long ago you were in a recent conferences with Papas. You've been recognized for several things. Can you share some of the awards that you have won? You and your team because of the
Yes.
performance that you have delivered.
Yeah, so obviously, it's the award is not for me. It goes down to the store managers because they are the ones who really work hard, and then under the guidance of their district managers and directors. So I always go up and say, I'm just the guy coming up on stage collecting this award, but it really belongs to all these people. Uh, so last year we had one of the best years. So. I'll start from like we've been getting awards from the last 6, 7 years. In 2019, we got a bronze award. In 2020, we got the Franchisee of the Year award, and one of my stores got a silver award. In 2021, we got the gold plate, like as the best store in Canada.
Yeah, that's the ultimate award. To get the gold plate is
No,
the
no,
ultimate
I'll
award.
share you. There's something better than the gold plate, which I'll share in a minute. In 2022, actually 2022, 23, 24, all these 3 years, I got Developer of the Year award. And in 2022, one of my stores got the silver award. And in 2023, we got the gold and two silvers. So
Wow, that's
so
amazing.
out of the five, six awards, we got four. And in 2024 was the best. So we got Developer of the Year, the Gold Award. And then because these gold awards are by the country, and then they have a Crystal Award, which is worldwide. So we got the Crystal Award, which was the first time any other country other than US won, and it was the first for Canada. And we got the Crystal Award last year.
Wow, congratulations. Well
Thank you.
done. What an amazing accomplishment. And again, knowing a lot of your team members and your leaders, I can see, where that will be coming from for sure. And that's amazing. So congratulations, Farhan, to you and your team and the Popeyes in Canada. So can you please a little bit about now that you are here, 11 years later, 78 stores, almost 80 units across Canada. What are your goals? What are you shooting for in the future? How many more do you think you're gonna open? And
Uh,
yeah, let's just talk about that.
Yeah, that I'm not sure. I mean, I think we still have our development agreement is about 100 stores. So in the next 2, 3 years, we'll try to get to that. But after that, I don't know. It's probably I could be expanding into another province, or I could go into the States, or do another brand. I'm not at this point. I'm not sure, but I think. I usually plan ahead of time, so I'm going to start thinking early next year what the next plan is.
Mm.
So it's either the same city and a different brand, or the same brand and a different province. So one of the two.
Because I was going to ask you about that. You have now grown so much. You're what we call a jumbo franchisee, right? You have almost 80 units in this one brand. And I was gonna say, have you thought about potentially diversifying into a separate brand? And if you do, what will be the things that you want to consider if you do that?
I have thought about another brand, but I'm not at this point sure if I do want to stay in the food business or do something else. So I will know next year. But other than that, like from my Popeyes business, I'm still, with my original profession. So I'm a board director and chairman of the audit committee of a publicly traded company in Canada, and I'm heavily involved with them. It's a risk management company. So, and day by day, my involvement is growing. Like it started off as a board role, but I'm talking to the CEO and the team on a daily basis, and learning that business as well because it's a fintech. There's two other companies. They're also fintechs, and I'm on the board and a shareholder. So already I have a few things on my hand that keeps me busy.
I see. So it makes sense. So while you continue to grow your brand, you have an amazing team. They are able to do a great job. You still lead them, but you're actually able to spend time and get into other type of activities that also
Yeah,
are rewarding for you. So that's why you might as well focus on what you have the commitment with Popeyes and enjoy what you're doing so far.
yeah,
I think that's a great plan because at the end of the day, you get into franchising and entrepreneurship so that you can enjoy your life, that you can, do great things, accomplish your targets. But if you enjoy what you're doing, you know what, make it any more complicated than it is.
yeah.
So, with that being said, can you share how being a franchisee and accomplishing what you have, how has that changed your life? Because you said that originally you never thought that you were going to be this big. You knew you wanted to be in a business, you wanted an enterprise, not a job, and but you didn't realize how big it could be, right? So from that, how has your life changed? Being a franchisee.
Um, well, in terms of obviously it takes much more time, but as you grow and you evolve, I think what you need to learn is what are the things that you're going to do yourself and what are things that you're going to go and delegate. And I think that's very important. I think most people, in my opinion, don't grow because they're still doing a lot of things with their own hands and they're afraid to delegate, or sometimes people want to save cost and not hire the people. When we grew to 5 stores, and I knew I wanted to go to Alberta, I hired somebody from another brand who was managing 8 or 10 stores over there, and it was actually too expensive for me at that time. But I said, look, we need to hire somebody who's been in the business longer than us, manage 10 stores and teach us. So, every time I've hired like a senior person, it's because I want to learn from them. Because, of course, I guess the thing is you have to know your own shortcomings. And if you know what you are missing, that's the talent you want to bring in and learn from them. And that's been a great journey. My director right now in Vancouver, he was with the keg for 25 years and he had one job, and he stayed there, and now he's our director. And I know it's a different business from it's a fine dining. But I said, what we can teach anybody to about Popeyes. I mean, me being a banker came in and learned it. But I said what he is going to bring to the table is he's got a higher standard of customer service and following brand standards, being a proper sit down restaurant. And, we can use his help to keep our brand standards very high. My
Such so
my other director in Alberta, his name is Sami. He was with I think KFC before, and he was managing like a whole region, like I don't know, 30, 50 stores. And he's worked with few other brands, and I'm still learning from him. He's a great guy, a lot of food experience, a lot of knowledge. And before I make a decision, I always consult these people because, at the end of the day, these guys have 25, 30 years of experience in the food business. And you know what? I learn from them.
This is such an amazing wisdom. So if you are watching this, franchisees, and you are, in your beginning of the journey, I would suggest stop the video, go back and listen to what Mr. Farhan just said. It is so, so true. The people that get ahead in the world, in business, are those that surround themselves with people that are better than us and then delegate to them the responsibility that they are expert at, because we cannot know everything about the business. So let's stay in the lane of what we're the best at, hire great people to do their job, and give them the empowerment and the delegation for them to actually do it the best way we can. And why not continue to learn from them and anyone you can, because that is just going to help you grow.
We you always need, like the way when I said I hired professionals to teach me. So nobody should reinvent the wheel. Let the expert do their job. Like, I mean, as I said before, we have internal trainers as well who teach the general managers, and I could have made them do the course and say start teaching it. No, but this job has to be let the professional do it. Or if you're doing something else, like, a lot of times because we built all our stores through a contractor, we wanted, like, at some point we said we should have our own construction company. And I was like, you know what, let's focus on the food. If we start doing that, although there was building 80 stores, even if these guys are making 150,000 dollar profit, that's 8 to 10 million dollars, that I could have, made myself. But I said, you know what, let the professional do it and let me focus on my job. So because we are so big, anything that I pick up, it could be an HR company that we're using. Why don't I open my own company? I don't even need a second client. We have like 1,200 employees, going to 2,000. Why am I paying somebody else? I could just open my own company. And this way, I would lose focus. So you always give the job to the professional and let them do it.
You are absolutely right. 100%. I believe that otherwise you split your focus. Now you are doing all kinds of things. And are you doing any one of them really, really well?
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. You're totally right on that.
The second part is whoever you promoted as a district manager or store manager, whatever, you should give them the tools to train them so they can help you. Like so let's say the course that we have with you, um, we could have like gone to one course and then replicated ourselves, but I think the for the employees morale as well, of course we can't replicate what you do. Obviously your team is more professional, it's done on time, the assignments, and the employees are engaged. I mean, I could have had one person in my organization do the course and take the book and start teaching everybody, but we I choose to spend the money, and the other part is the employee also feels, oh, that he gets a certificate. They can something they can hang on the wall, and even if they don't work for me in the future, they go anywhere, it helps them in their career. And that amount of time and money that you spend on that employee is, has benefits to your corporation for years to come.
Absolutely, because they feel and they see that you're willing to invest money on them and you value them, and in return, they're gonna value you back. You're absolutely right. And I always hear from franchisees. I tell them what you tell them, but when you tell them, they cannot hear you better.
Yeah.
It's a little bit about what we hear from them. Yeah.
See,
Hmm.
the first thing I think, like, there was many years ago, I can't remember since when we've been doing your course, but I think in your starting thing you said it's your best GM when you promote them to be a district manager, he becomes a super manager, but it's a different role. And they don't even know themselves. They are smart, hardworking, and talented, but they don't know the different role. And it's the do's and don'ts that as a DM what you should do and what you should not do.
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
became very crystal clear to me because I was actually doing it wrong. Like I used to think that, like one of the examples that, go to the store and you take my laptop and do my work while I'm watching. And I think the first thing you told in our, course is don't do that. Do your work inside your office, or when you're inside the store, concentrate on doing things there. Don't do your office work in there. So things like those, how to manage like from one store to six stores, how to manage more people, how to manage your time. I mean, you know what? It's a great tool for everybody.
Yes, no, that's fantastic. You're right. And the unit manager position is so different from the district manager position. And there's confusion when there's no proper professional training on what that new role is. What happens is that people just default to whatever they're comfortable with. And what are they comfortable with? Being a general manager. So they go into the stores and they say, okay, move out of the way. And then they just take over. When in reality, they should be there coaching, inspiring, teaching the team to be the better selves. And so that's kind of what we do all the time. But so let's change a little bit here. And I want you to think back 11 years ago when you were first starting in this journey. What would you tell Farhan 11 years ago with everything that you know now? What would you tell yourself 11 years ago to help you be better and faster in this that you may have not known back when you started?
I think, well, probably how to retain people, how much to share with it. But I think it all comes with experience. Like, sometimes with your team and different team members, you have to walk a very fine line. You can be unfriendly or too friendly, and then people start taking advantage. So, and then how to motivate the people, what you should do for them. Uh, you know, it's trying to see what they want from you and what can you do to help them. Once you figure out what the other person wants and you fulfill that, then they will do what you need.
Yes, definitely. Now, tell me a little bit about what are the type of challenges that the franchisees have or that you had at the beginning of your journey of growth that are different from the challenges you have now that you have 78 stores. I'm sure your problems are different, right? The problems at the beginning may have been, X, Y, and Z, and the problems now are different. So, can you share a little bit about that? What were the initial
Some of
challenges?
the
Mhm.
some of the problems are the same. It's just they're just 70 times bigger.
Okay, okay.
It is about, again, it comes to, a service, and it all goes down to your team because they are there in the store. I can't be in 50 cities in 70 stores, so you're depending on your team. So how well they are trained, how much professionalism they have, and how much you take care of them so they take care of your business.
Mm,
And also, I mean, on and off, I think it's with every other brand, it's the quality of your food. So sometimes it's issues from the suppliers that we have to fight with, because at the end of the day, we are the ones serving the product, right? So the customer is, if the product is too big or too small, they're complaining to you, not to the supplier. And sometimes it's your own staff not, cooking it right or whatever. So it's a food business. There's daily challenges. It's not, oh, I cook well tonight and tomorrow I'm not going to cook well. No, it has to be cooked well, and brand procedures have to be followed 100% all the time.
mm.
Like it can't be 99% of the time.
Right. Tell me a little bit about, development. Obviously, you have opened almost 80 units now. Do you have a team that helps you with real estate? And if so, or even in the beginning of stages, what do you look for in locations? Are you focused on acquiring existing units? What percentage do you acquire, and how many do you actually open? And what do you look for in those locations?
So I've never acquired. We've built all our stores. So we deal with three different construction teams who have worked with us for 10 years or 11 years. We have one team for BC, and the same person does all our stores. We have one team for Alberta and one for Ontario. So we use the same people. We have two different architects. We just go to them. They know us. We know them. They know what to do. And that's also another thing I believe is I choose uh, to work with the same people as long as the work is being done right. I don't go and change vendors for a little bit of money because you have to develop that trust. So even in Alberta, we've been dealing with one company, one person for like all these years who brings us all the real estate. And then in BC, it's been one person. And if anybody even brings me more real estate, I just refer it back to that same person. I said, you have to go through them. So I think that shows loyalty that, I work with the same vendors, even though we don't have any written contracts or whatever, but it's just unwritten rule. I'm only going to work with you. And they've brought us like some of the best real estates. And, I know they have obviously these agents and brokers work for commission, but I know that, they have my best interest in their head. So.
Such another piece of wisdom also from you, Farhan, because when you build those relationships with those third party vendors, those people that you need and that rely on to be able to find great locations, open fast, when you have those personal relationships, they're going to go above and beyond for you
Yes.
because you are loyal and committed to them. And when you're able to do that, is what allows you to be able to be more successful and be faster and better. And even though it might from time to time cost you a little bit more, but you know that you're paying for the quality of the people that you know. Such a great, definitely a piece of knowledge from that for sure. So, in the same venue here, you were mentioning how now more people know you, now more people know who you are as a franchisee, and they might even come to you. I'm sure that at the beginning, how hard was it for you to access capital for you to be able to build all those units from the ground up versus what it looks like now? Because sometimes franchisees think that access to capital is the most difficult thing, but with time and again relationships, it gets better. So can you share a little bit about that? Were you able to get access to capital to be able to open the units at the beginning, and how is it different now for you?
Yes, in the very beginning, it was difficult because Popeyes wasn't as big and banks were reluctant. But it's been better since RBI bought Popeyes, and it's a part of a bigger brand. But now it's mainstream, so it's we don't have issues, especially with our bank. We deal with Bank of Montreal, and they've been good to us. Um, but it no, more than the capital, I'll tell you that in the beginning, what was the biggest challenge, even in Ontario, when we went to lease the place, because it's not like renting a house for 1 year or 2 years. You're signing a 10 or 20-year lease. The landlord really needs to, be a, like trust you and your credit score and your net worth and all that. Especially if you want to go into like class A, plazas and stuff. So it was very difficult in the beginning, especially when we went to Alberta. Um, Nobody wanted to rent to us. Like, they're like, oh, some guy has come in, me and my partner, when we went to Calgary, they're like, oh, we don't know these two guys. They don't even live in the city. Why are we going to give them real estate? So, but our agent at that time, she helped us a lot. And now, there's every big name, they want us to take their property. So, after a few years, the table have turned. Before we were running after them. With 80 stores, we have, I think, almost all of the major like Smart Center or First Capital or RioCan or Anthem properties. Like in some of these developers, we have five, six, seven projects with one person. And every time they're opening a new project or constructing a new project, they come to us. And before, like 5 years ago, it would be they would want to go to a bank first. They would want to go to, let's say, a McDonald's or like other bigger brands, and give them preference, and the leftover was for us. But now, we are approached like, what do you want from this? So,
Oh, what a great place to be, which allows you to continue to grow faster.
yeah.
At how many units did you feel that was the change? At what unit, where were you when you start feeling that change?
Um, I think after 40, maybe 40, closer to 50, somewhere there. Yeah.
Right. That's when they saw your history of success, the
Yeah.
growth, the commitment, the professionalism, and I always tell people that one unit is hard, two, 3 units is harder, but that once you get to the first district manager area, it starts getting just a little bit easier,
Yeah.
and they don't
Because
realize.
it's I wouldn't say it's difficult or easy because you can't really measure it, but it's a different job. Like, between 1 to 5 units, you're running more on the ground and doing a lot of things yourself. Now I feel it's like I'm back in a job, like because most of the time I spend hours and hours on this seat on my desk now. And yes, I go to store visits, but that's not my everyday job now. And we have so many leases to look at. We have development, we have construction, like marketing issues, product issues, and then we have teams and we have HR issues. So there's a lot that's going on. So yeah, so the
Right.
the, the job profile has changed.
Right. So you're absolutely right. It's not that it becomes easier, it's just a different job
Yeah.
that from being from the front lines to actually the administrative work of the business. That's you're right.
And I think being an accountant by profession has helped me as well. In not just in terms of raising capital, talking to the bank, because I work with the bank. I know what they're looking for, what they need. And dealing with my own accountants, managing the budgets, managing the forecasting. So that, it helps because I've done that. So
Right. So your background has definitely helped you
yeah,
be able to be so successful at this level because now that you're now applying the things that you learned, at the beginning of your
yeah.
journey. Such a great point. Well, this has been an amazing interview, Farhan. Before we end, I would love for you to, share whatever nuggets of wisdom that you would like to share with all of these franchisees that are watching you right now, that they are, listening to this and they maybe have been at the beginning of their journey. Maybe they're struggling a little bit. And, what would you give them as far as your nuggets of wisdom for them to be able to get encouraged to get to hopefully where you are today?
I think it's if I say this and it'll sound very simple, but it is actually very simple things. You have to be hardworking. You have to be consistent. Consistency will pay off in the long run, and you can't take shortcuts. yeah, some people might see, oh, I took this shortcut and it might be a short-term victory. But it will somehow come back and bite you in the end. So we've come this far because we've stayed focused and we've stayed consistent. Take care of your people because eventually they're the ones. I won't be here if my team wasn't there. Like I depend on each of especially the district managers. I talk to them all the time. I guide them, and I start my conversation by saying, it doesn't matter if you work for me. I know eventually in a few years you will be working for somewhere else, and if you need to go somewhere, if you need my advice, what you should do, what do you want to be in 5 years? I can tell you what you should be doing today, that you will get to where you want to. Take care of your people. Obviously, you have to take care of your brand and business, and the guests who walk in. Loyalty pays off. People will remember you, will help you, will respect you. I think there is no, replacement for loyalty. So all these, these are very basic things, but it is when you really look down, it's not a rocket science. Like, I mean, from an accounting background, I'm on a board of different companies. I'm running a food business. It's nothing is a rocket science unless you're actually building a rocket science rocket. So,
Yeah.
but it comes down to the basics. Stay focused, work hard, and stay consistent.
Love it. Thank you very much for all of these uh, tips and best practices and wisdom from you. You've been so generous with your time and sharing of your experience. I'm sure that the people watching this are really truly going to enjoy it and get a lot out of it. So with that, again, Farhan, thank you very much for being with
Thank you so
us.
much for
Mhm.
having me over. And it's been a pleasure knowing you. And also, you've been a great help for my business, especially.
Thank you,
So,
Farhana. I really appreciate it. And this is music to my ears. As you know, this is the commitment that we have, why I do what I do, me and my team, so that we can
uh,
help people just like you. And for those of you that are starting the journey, we would love to be able to partner you and help you to accomplish all these amazing things that Farhan has done. So with that, thank you very much for being in this franchisee wisdom session. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye.
But don't go just yet. If you'd like to learn more about the district manager training program that Farhan spoke about that has helped him achieve so many more awards and recognition, all you got to do is visit us at our website, American Franchise Academy, and look for the program of LEAD. Or you can also go to districtmanagertraining.com and learn all about the details of that program that made such a difference in his organization and many, many others. Thank you, and we'll see you there.